The world is not a stage for fairness, it is a battlefield of intentions, where the naive are outmaneuvered and the cunning reign supreme. Embrace this unyielding truth, and you unshackle yourself from the chains of victimhood. Right now, someone less capable than you commands greater respect. Someone with fewer talents wields more influence. Someone less deserving lives the life you covet, not through luck, but through a ruthless mastery of human psychology. You've been conditioned to play by rules others discarded long ago, taught to prioritize kindness over strategy, programmed to wait for respect while others seize it with calculated precision. The game is rigged, not by fate or conspiracy, but by those who refuse to learn its true mechanics. Society sells you a comforting lie. Fairness exists, good intentions triumph, and merit naturally rises. This illusion keeps you compliant, predictable, and exploitable. The system disadvantages those who cling to these myths, rewarding instead those who wield psychological dominance. Centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli, a piercing observer of human ambition, decoded the raw machinery of power in the treacherous courts of Renaissance Italy. He saw why the virtuous languish while ruthless strategists ascend, why good men finish last while the cunning shape empires. His insights are not relics, they are a timeless codex for anyone ready to shed naivety and claim unshakable influence. This guide unveils 8 dark psychological laws to transform you from invisible to unstoppable, from overlooked to dangerously magnetic. These principles are not for the faint-hearted. They demand a willingness to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Once you grasp them, you cannot return to the comfort of victimhood or the delusion of fairness. You will see the matrix of human behavior for what it is, a chessboard where every move is calculated, every gesture strategic. My own awakening came from bitter experience. I was once the diligent, sincere soul with all the answers, yet no one listened. I watched as manipulative opportunists climbed over me, as charismatic predators built empires while honest hearts struggled. The revelation was a thunderbolt. The world does not reward intelligence or goodness, it bows to influence, presence, and psychological mastery. Machiavelli navigated a world of political intrigue, betrayal, and psychological warfare, where kingdoms rose and fell on the strength of human cunning. His core insight was simple yet profound. Those who understand the levers of human psychology rule those who do not. Ruthlessness, in his view, is not cruelty, it is psychological sophistication, the ability to play chess while others fumble with checkers. To wield these laws, you must make a solemn declaration. I refuse to be psychologically dominated by others. This is not a mere phrase, it is your initiation into psychological sovereignty. A shift from prey to predator, from pawn to master. Are you ready to forge a presence so formidable it reshapes the rooms you enter? Let us begin the journey through the 8 laws that will make you untouchable, unplayable, and unstoppable. Law 1. Fairness is a shackle forged to bind you first. Law is a brutal awakening. Fairness is a myth crafted to keep you submissive. Every time you wait for just treatment, someone else claims your prize. Every time you adhere to imaginary rules, others rewrite the game to their advantage. Every time you expect reciprocity, manipulators exploit your predictability. Society glorifies fairness as noble, but in the arena of power, it marks you as prey, vulnerable, exploitable, and easily outmaneuvered. Reflect on your life. How often have you extended respect to those who offered none, helped those who never reciprocated, waited patiently for your turn while others cut the line with impunity? This isn't misfortune, it's a programmed mindset, designed to keep you small. Machiavelli observed that men must be treated with generosity or decisiveness, as slight injuries provoke revenge, while overwhelming ones leave no room for retaliation. In psychological terms, this means half measures, timid pushback, soft boundaries, or reasoning with the self-interested are fatal. They signal weakness and embolden adversaries who see you as a conquerable target. True dominance demands that disrespect carries immediate, severe consequences, not in anger but in strategy. For example, imagine a colleague who undermines you in meetings. The naive response is to argue or plead for respect, reinforcing their power. The dominant response is to act decisively, perhaps by presenting a brilliant idea directly to leadership, bypassing the offender or calmly addressing their behavior in a way that shifts group perception. Your action must make it clear, disrespecting you is costly. Consider a historical parallel. Cesare Borgia, Machiavelli's model prince, maintained power by ensuring that any challenge to his authority was met with swift, decisive action, leaving no room for dissent to fester. In a modern context, think of a CEO who quietly removes a toxic executive, not with fanfare, but with a single, calculated move that realigns the organization's loyalty. Stop negotiating with those who don't value you. Make treating you well their only rational choice, and watch how quickly the game shifts in your favor. Practice for Law 1. Identify one area where you've been overly fair, perhaps tolerating a friend's disrespect or overextending help to an ungrateful colleague. Next time they overstep, act decisively. Exclude them from a key opportunity. Redirect your energy to those who reciprocate, or set a boundary that forces them to adjust. Keep a journal of these interactions, noting how your actions reshape others' behavior. Train yourself to see fairness as a trap and strategy as your liberation, documenting each victory as a step toward sovereignty. Law 2. Ruthlessness is the iron discipline of emotion. Ruthlessness is not a loss of control, it is the pinnacle of emotional mastery. Many mistake ruthlessness for reckless anger, but true ruthlessness is ice cold, calculated discipline. The ruthless do not react with fury, they respond with precision. They do not let hurt feelings dictate decisions, they assess what serves their long-term interests. Emotionally reactive individuals are predictable puppets. Their strings pulled by anyone who knows their triggers. They surrender power with every outburst, while the psychologically dominant treat emotions as signals, not commands. Imagine a scenario. A rival publicly undermines your reputation. The reactive response is to defend yourself, argue, or lash out, signaling weakness and validating their attack. The disciplined response is to note the assault, feel the sting, then choose a move that dismantles their credibility while elevating yours. Perhaps you ignore them, signaling they're beneath your notice, or deliver a calm, factual correction that exposes their folly to others. Your response is a scalpel, not a sledgehammer, cutting cleanly to end the conflict on your terms. Machiavelli advised that injuries should be inflicted decisively to minimize lingering resentment. One calculated move outshines 1,000 emotional reactions. Take a modern example. A politician facing a scandal doesn't rant or plead. They issue a single, carefully crafted statement that reframes the narrative, then pivot to a high-profile action that overshadows the controversy. Their discipline turns a crisis into a demonstration of strength. Emotional sovereignty is your fortress. Build it, and others will hesitate to test your walls. Practice for Law 2. When provoked, pause and ask, what response maximizes my influence? Practice this in small moments, like a heated email exchange, by drafting a calm, strategic reply instead of a reactive one. Keep a log of emotional triggers and your chosen responses, building a habit of discipline over impulse. Reflect on how this shifts others' perceptions, noting their growing caution and respect. Law 3. Psychological dominance eclipses likability. Being liked is a gilded cage, comfortable but confining. Likable people are seen as safe, predictable, and exploitable because they avoid retaliation to preserve harmony. Respected people, however, inspire caution. Others hesitate to cross them, knowing consequences will follow. In your circles, who commands deference? The agreeable soul who nods along, or the one whose presence shifts the room? Machiavelli was unequivocal. It is safer to be feared than loved if one must choose. This doesn't mean cruelty, it means being formidable, fair, but unyielding, with a reputation that demands respect. Likable people say yes to avoid conflict, sacrificing their priorities. Dominant people say no to protect their interests, guilt-free. Likable people tolerate disrespect, hoping it fades. Dominant people address it decisively, ensuring it stops. Likable people seek inclusion in every circle. Dominant people choose their presence strategically, making their absence felt. Shift your mindset. Instead of asking, will they like me? Ask, will this strengthen my influence? For instance, if a colleague interrupts you repeatedly, don't smile and endure calmly. Assert your space. perhaps by redirecting the conversation or calling out their behavior in a way that commands attention. Consider a historical example. Queen Elizabeth I maintained power not by being universally liked, but by cultivating a reputation as a shrewd, unyielding monarch. Her presence demanded respect, not affection. In a modern workplace, a manager who sets clear boundaries and enforces them calmly earns more loyalty than one who seeks to please everyone. Dominance is not about being unlikable, it's about prioritizing your power over others' comfort. Practice for Law 3. Identify one instance where you've sought approval over influence, perhaps agreeing to a draining request to avoid conflict. Next time, prioritize your standards. Say no to a low-value demand or address disrespect directly with calm authority. Track how others adjust to your firmness, noting increased respect or hesitation in their behavior. Keep a record of these shifts to reinforce your commitment to dominance over likability. Law 4. Decisive action. Forge's psychological supremacy. Weak moves repeated erode your influence. Strong moves executed rarely cement it. Those who threaten consequences without delivering train others to ignore them. Their complaints, nagging, or emotional pleas signal powerlessness, inviting further disrespect. Psychologically dominant individuals act sparingly but with unforgettable impact. Machiavelli taught that injuries must be severe enough to eliminate the need for vengeance. In psychological terms, your actions should be so clear and final that others hesitate to challenge you again. Imagine a co-worker who consistently dismisses your contributions. The weak response is to complain, plead, or seek validation from others, reinforcing their dominance. The dominant response is to document the pattern, then act once, perhaps by presenting a game-changing idea directly to leadership, bypassing the offender, or addressing their behavior in a group setting with calm, undeniable authority. Your action should be proportionate to the pattern, not a single slight, creating a lasting lesson. For example, in a social group, if someone mocks you repeatedly, exclude them from a valued event or shift group dynamics to marginalize their influence. The impact must resonate, making others rethink crossing you. Historically, Roman general Julius Caesar quelled dissent with swift, decisive campaigns, ensuring his authority was unquestioned. In a modern context, a startup founder might fire a disruptive employee with a single, well-communicated decision, realigning the team's focus. Fewer threats, stronger follow-through. Forge a reputation for decisiveness that others dare not test. Practice for Law 4. Identify a recurring issue, like someone undermining your authority. Plan one decisive action excluding them from a key decision, showcasing your value in their presence, or redirecting group loyalty, and execute it with precision. Reflect in a journal on how this shifts perceptions, noting how others adjust to your newfound strength. Build a habit of making fewer, more impactful moves. Law 5. Perception management is the art of shaping real. Attire image is your reality. In the eyes of others, people don't probe your true character, they judge based on surface signals, social proof, and first impressions. If you don't shape your perception, others will, often to your detriment. Machiavelli declared, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." Psychologically sophisticated individuals craft their image with intent, ensuring their reputation aligns with their ambitions. Consider to colleagues with identical achievements. One shares their success strategically through polished presentations, social media, or alliances with influential figures, while the other assumes their work speaks for itself. The former gains promotions, partnerships, and respect. The latter fades into obscurity. Perception management isn't deceit, it's presenting your authentic qualities with purpose. Your body language, tone, attire, and associations signal your value before you speak. A confident stride, steady eye contact, and authoritative voice command respect. Hesitation or meekness invites dismissal. In history, Cleopatra mastered perception, presenting herself as a divine ruler to solidify her power. Today, a tech entrepreneur might cultivate a personal brand of innovation through strategic storytelling, ensuring their reputation precedes them. Every gesture, every word, shapes the narrative others construct about you. Control it, or someone else will. Practice for Law 5. Conduct a perception audit. Adjust one element, your posture, attire, or online presence to project greater authority. Share a success story strategically, emphasizing your competence without boasting, perhaps a LinkedIn post framing a project as a triumph of strategy. Track how others' perceptions shift, noting increased opportunities, invitations, or deference. Keep a record of these changes to refine your image over time. Law 6. Narrative control is the sort of psychological warfareth person who controls. The story controls its meaning. The same action can be framed as leadership or arrogance, confidence or selfishness, strength or aggression. Most focus on their actions, ignoring the narrative around them, a fatal oversight. Human psychology prioritizes stories over facts. People judge based on the simplified narratives they hear from trusted sources. Machiavelli noted that men judge by appearances, not realities. The one who frames the story first wins the psychological war. When you succeed, frame it as a triumph of foresight and discipline, not luck. When you fail, frame it as a lesson that strengthens you. When attacked, reframe the assault as evidence of the attacker's weakness or envy. For example, if you end a toxic relationship, others might label you heartless. Proactively frame it: I set boundaries to protect my well-being from someone who refused reciprocity. This shifts the narrative from abandonment to self-respect. In a workplace, if a rival criticizes your decision, don't defend or frame their attack as short-sightedness. Then highlight your decision's long-term benefits. Historically, Abraham Lincoln controlled narratives during the Civil War, framing the Union's cause as a moral imperative to unify public support. Today, a CEO might frame a controversial layoff as a necessary step to ensure the company's survival. Preempting negative interpretations. Anticipate how your actions will be perceived and shape the story before others do. Practice for Law 6. Before a significant decision, anticipate potential interpretations. Craft a narrative that aligns with your goals, perhaps framing a tough call as principled leadership, and share it proactively with key stakeholders like colleagues or followers. Keep a journal of how your framing influences perceptions, refining your storytelling to control narratives with precision. Law 7. Systematic consequences forge unassailable authority. True influence lies not in emotional outbursts or threats, but in systems where behaviors lead to predictable outcomes. When authority depends on anger, it's vulnerable to manipulation. Others can push your buttons or negotiate with your reactions. Systems, however, are impersonal and unassailable. Machiavelli advised rulers to rely on what they control, not others' whims. Create systems where respect grants access and disrespect leads to exclusion, removing your personality from the equation. For example, if colleagues repeatedly waste your time with last-minute cancellations, don't complain. Implement a system. Only engage with those who confirm and show up. Don't announce it as punishment. Let the consequences teach. People adjust their behavior to maintain access to your value. Creating self-sustaining authority in a social context. If friends take your generosity for granted, redirect your support to those who show appreciation. The system, logical, consistent, and impersonal, does the work for you. Historically, the Roman Empire maintained order through systems of law and reward, ensuring loyalty without constant intervention. In a modern workplace, a manager might establish a policy where only reliable team members gain access to high-profile projects. Systems create authority that emotions cannot. Practice for Law 7. Identify one area where your boundaries are tested, like people disrespecting your time or resources. Create a system, e.g., only engaging with those who respect your schedule, and apply it consistently. Track how others adapt, noting the decline in boundary violations. Document these outcomes to reinforce the power of systematic consequences. Law 8. Silent dominance is the pinnacle of power. True dominance whispers, never shouts. Those who boast about their strength reveal their insecurity. The truly powerful let their results speak. They are the quiet observers in any room, calculating while others perform, positioning while others posture. Their influence is felt, not declared, through actions, not words. Machiavelli likened the ideal leader to a fox recognizing traps and a lion deterring wolves. Blending cunning and strength without telegraphing strategy. silent dominance means building influence without announcing ambitions, undermining rivals without revealing your hand, and gathering intelligence while sharing little. For example, if a competitor challenges you, don't engage publicly instead. Quietly strengthen your alliances or showcase your value in a way that overshadows them. Your power feels inevitable because it's unseen until it strikes. In history, Cardinal Richelieu wielded immense influence in France by operating behind the scenes, orchestrating outcomes without drawing attention. Today, a tech mogul might quietly secure key partnerships while competitors waste energy on public feuds. Practice for Law 8. Practice strategic silence in one interaction. Observe more. Speak less and note others' reactions. Build one alliance or undermine one rival discreetly, perhaps by amplifying an ally's success or redirecting group focus away from a detractor. Track the impact in a journal, noting how your silent moves shift dynamics. Cultivate a habit of letting results, not words, announce your dominance. These 8 laws form a psychological fortress, arming you to navigate the unseen game of power. If you don't wield this knowledge, someone else will wield it against you. Every day you delay, a more ruthless player builds the influence you seek. The choice is stark: remain a pawn, manipulated by those who understand the game, or become a master, shaping outcomes with precision. The world doesn't need more victims of fairness, it needs those who grasp psychological realities and forge lives of unshakable influence. Declare your sovereignty, embrace these laws, and become the force others cannot ignore. The game is yours to command. Seize it, and let your results write your legend.